any chance we can learn that in the next 5 years?
I mean, anything is possible, but it's going to be difficult.
Choo, that was so good that my wife had her hands over her face while she's smiling. That's right. Hey, tell me a little bit more about your foundation.
Well, we have an organization called Choo Smith Youth Empowerment, and I'm born and raised in this town, and I've seen a lot of hardship as I grew up through this town. I had both of my parents, and my parents were pretty much always been my heroes, and they really instilled in me the values of life, the morals and values of life. And at the time, I didn't know Christ. I know God was really keeping a hold on me until it was time for me to give my life to Him. And as I journeyed on, playing basketball and doing those things, I realized that, when people deposit in your life, it's major. So when I got a chance to play with the Globetrotters, I got a chance to see a lot of things because we're considered to be ambassadors of goodwill. And God chose me, a young inner city kid that was poor, trying to come up, who lost a lot of friends to killings and drugs and a lot of mishaps because they hadn't had the resources or opportunities to evolve in life. So once I gave my life to Christ, I decided in my mind that I had to give back to young people and show them the true way, and doing it by the principles of Christ. I got saved in '98, and my wife brought me to Christ. So that was something that was major, and I decided to open this organization up to start with 40 kids to teach them the game of basketball and use life principles through the game of basketball. And once we started that 40 kids grew to over 130, 140 kids a week. And we have an educational component where we help kids learn how to take the SAT, the IC test if they want to go to private school. We show them the way to qualify for the clearinghouse to go into college. We just do a lot of giving back. We clean up around the neighborhoods and just try to expose them to things beyond their situation and say that they can dream big. So the organization is really built around love and compassion and serving. So we have a lot of different components to it. We have a tremendous staff, Karen Bullock and Devin and many others that give up their time to serve the community. And I just want to go and say something about a young man that is real dear to my heart. We did a basketball camp at Fort Bragg in North Carolina. And it's always something about people giving of themselves when they're not trying to receive a paycheck or receive a pat on the back. And this man volunteered his service while we had the basketball camp. And my first week of my basketball camp, he traveled 6 hours to come to us to volunteer his services. And then he surprised me on our last day of camp and came again after coming from Germany. He's been deployed 6 times. And I just want to, give him a tremendous shout out. He came again here today to support. He just met with his sister. I don't see him. Oh, there you go. Mr. Gabriel Reynolds. We call him Memphis Police. Thank you, man. So it's those kinds of people that, we like to surround ourselves with. And, Chuck and Bill and Miss Valerie, just thank you because, opportunities present themselves, but if you're not in position to take the opportunity and run with it, it's a struggle. So young people, I just want to say that, we celebrate you. Don't stop your dreams. Dream big because the sky's the limit. Don't let anybody tell you you can't achieve or do anything in your life. So I know I went on, Bill. I know you got some questions for me.
Steve. My wife Valerie and myself are really thankful to God that we get to work with guys like Anthony and Choo, who use their athletic abilities and their backgrounds for good. Not everybody does that. And a lot of athletes that they squander their opportunities, and when they retire, they don't know what to do. But I'm just thankful I got guys like you that take life seriously and want to make an impact on the people. Now, I'm very impressed with this. This is That's big. I want to have my own baseball field. Tell me a little bit about your book there.
Well, once again, my father is my hero again. And he always kind of exposed me to a lot of things in terms of sports, because he said that sports was the closest thing to life, because you have wins, you have losses, you have teamwork, you got to learn how to work with one another, you got to be able to deal with adversity and all those kinds of things in life. So when I was younger, I always believed that I was the people on TV. So I loved all sports, baseball, basketball, football, and boxing. And when I was 7 years old, I loved the Orioles. So in our backyard, I realized that we didn't have a field to play with, but there was a lot of grass. So I came in the house and I told my mom, can I hold some placemats to cut out and a measuring stick so I can measure a baseball field so the kids can play at 7 years old. So we really built a baseball field at 7 years old. You know how kids agitate you saying, you crazy, what are you doing, come with me, let's go swimming and that kind of thing. But it's a true story and we built it. And I wrote this book about 4 years ago and it was on the shelf for 4 years. And I got a phone call by a gentleman that said, Choo, you need to get a book out. And I said, I have a book. And he said, why is it on the shelf? So I called my public relations publicist and told her, listen, let's get the book. And this was in February. And we published our own book in April. And it's ironic, I wrote the book in 2 hours in Barnes & Nobles. And Barnes & Nobles has just picked up our book. So. Another thing about the book, and I almost forgot, she'll jump on me. We did an art contest across the United States, and a young lady that's 15 years old, she did all the illustrations in 30 days. She won the contest. So we're going to give her a scholarship, and we give her recognition throughout. So that was big. She's phenomenal. If you take a look at the book, you will see the illustrations.
You guys have played all over the world. You're in 26 countries. You played professionally how many countries?
I mean, I've lived in 7. We traveled throughout Europe.
No, that's right. You've been all over the place too. Well, my question is, okay, you played exciting basketball in the NBA in the United States, but you also played overseas. Tell me a little bit about the pros and cons of being in the NBA and then playing overseas, just to give them an idea.
Well, I mean, when you are blessed, and I like to tell this to young men and young women all the time, is that we can take no credit for being professional athletes. It's truly a gift and all orchestrated by God. I mean, truly, this could be Choo's story, or Arthur's story, or even your story, because we all play basketball. And maybe we had aspiration to do that, but God had predestined for our lives that this was going to be part of our story for our platform. So when I got to the NBA, it was definitely a dream come true, because once you play college basketball and someone said you have the potential to be an NBA player, I mean, something happens inside of you that I can't explain. And then on draft day when your name is called, it's just pandemonium, your whole life changes. And I'm not even talking about the financial portion. Your life just changes because it takes on a new identity. And to play in the NBA, you just got to know you belong there, because everybody's good. At some point, you have to go from being a former fan to now actually being a player. Because it's easy to get caught up watching Michael Jordan or Charles Barkley, and then you'll find yourself on the bench and eventually unemployed because you couldn't make the transition. Transitioning to European basketball, as you see it now, has exploded, especially I think it was in '98 or something when they beat the Olympic team or something. It really put European basketball on the map. And I was blessed to go to Europe in 1996. The first country I played in was in Bologna.